Yep. Salute. Hey, look, check this out. It's your guy, me, Drip. We back at again with another conversation with Drip. And this time, I want to wrap up one of my old videos that I did, how to pull an older woman. But this one, instead of it being part one, this is going to be a part two. So this time, I'm going to talk about the quantitative route, right? The last time I talked about the qualitative route. The qualitative route is basically if you have one woman and you want to make love to 1,000 ways, right? So now I'm speaking to the quantitative guys, right? That want to have 1,000 women and make love to them one way. So I'm gonna put it to you like this, right? I'm gonna give y'all a disclaimer. This content that I'm about to share, right? It isn't for everybody. And however, I'm not making content to teach men how to manipulate, lie, and do all the weirdo stuff that people be doing already. I'm trying to keep the pool from having a lot of pee pee up in it. I'm trying to keep the pool from having a lot of piss in it. Trying to I guess keep the space as fair as possible. And however, I am not no relationship coach again. I'm not no love guru. I'm not no image consultant. And I'm not bashing the people that do that, but I'm not none of those things. The only thing I can do is teach you how to be a good person. And that's the thing that I'm doing for this episode. I'm teaching the guys who want to have multiple women how to be a good person to all of them, where everybody wins. I'm just here to create a win-win situation because too many times you see people in the social media space. The trendy thing to do is to talk about the other gender. That side doing this, and nobody's coming down the middle and trying to create solutions and stuff like that for how they could be better. So, and I'm not trying to internet space, but what I'm gonna do is instead of being a creator of problems, I'm gonna be a creator of solutions. So that's my disclaimer. And if you don't agree with this content, or you have, or for whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, I don't care, but still hit the like button, and then you can comment and share this video. And if you got some crazy comments and you want to have your opinion on me and all that, so please keep it to yourself. And then it's always gonna be that one hypocrite in the comment. I know it's probably coming. It's always gonna be that one person in the comment that's gonna be like, hey, they're gonna try to focus on, they're gonna be like, well, what is he doing personally? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing personally. Personally, I'm working on creating you good content. And so now, as far as my personal life goes, now people who really know me, they know this is how I am. I do this. I always give game. And when it comes to women, since we've been had this conversation about women, when it comes to women, a few things women can say about me is uh, I'm a chivalrous person, confident, and I never abused them in any form or any way. We may have had, everybody got their flaws, and we may have had our disagreements on certain things, but I can always come up to any woman that I've dealt with and approach them, and we can have a conversation like we never stop talking. We can pick right up. Maybe not far as on the intimate level or anything like that, but it ain't no bad blood between us. And that's a good space to be. Having a good relationship with everybody, based on how the cards is dealt. So that's my disclaimer for y'all. So we finna get right to it. All right, so because I had to put in my notes, because sometimes I be having so much knowledge and information in my brain, right? And sometimes I make videos. That's the point of doing it over and over again. You get better. But sometimes I make videos and stuff like that, and I rewatch it. I can leave information out, or I can think of something else to give y'all. So right now, here to look at my notes. The rule number one, right? So this is for the men who want to have 1,000 women times one. So I'm gonna give you the game. Number one, ban ichi or uno, right? So uno in Spanish is number one, ban ichi in Japanese means number one. So I'm gonna tell you this again: have you some value, have you some motion in your life, right? And it's even more so important, especially when you're dealing with multiple women. When you got a basketball team full of women, it's more crucial that you have some value in your life, because the qualitative person can kind of, I don't want to say slack, but he do got a little bit more leeway because it's just one, right? It's one eyeballs on, not a basketball team full of women that have eyeballs on this one person. So you got to make sure that you have you some value across the board. And if you don't know how you can build your value, go back and watch the initial video where I was talking to the qualitative men who want to just have one woman. Focus on investing in yourself, not only professional development, but personal development. Have that value. Focus on having the value. Create the value for yourself. And then once you do that, then you can focus on creating the experience for other people. But if you ain't got no value, you ain't got nothing to offer people, you ain't gonna give them nothing but a bad experience. So focus on having some value first, where you can think of creative ways and innovative ideas and stuff like that. When you deal with these women, you can be able to give them some good experiences, right? So that's one. Have you some value. And another thing is, right? So the second one, Niban. Dos. Number two, honesty with your roles, right? So when you are a quantitative man, and I'm talking to anybody, whether you a corporate guy, military guy, a street guy, an athlete, or just a regular smoke Joe, or I think did I say entrepreneur, right? I'm talking to anybody. If you want to have you 1,000 women, right? You need to think of it like a basketball team, right? So you need to think of it as a basketball team, and you're the owner of the basketball team, right? Basketball is one of my favorite sports. I like the way it dribble up and down the court. But anywho, so think of it like a basketball team, right? So with a basketball team, for a great basketball team that wins the championship every year, the one thing they always have in common is everybody bought in to the culture. Well, first they set a culture, right? They had a culture in place, and they found, or the culture is their identity. Then they found pieces that fit within their identity, and those pieces that fit with the identity, they bought in to the identity, and then it was just on off to the races. That's where they start having good chemistry and stuff like that. So you got to do the same thing. The reason why a lot of y'all be having multiple women and it don't work is because y'all do not be honest with it. Uh, and sometimes the women, and y'all play that game too. Uh, Not y'all, we, us men and males, we get caught playing that game where just because the woman don't ask, we don't bring it up. And then what happens is just because they don't ask, we think it's okay, and we sneak around, and eventually what's done, the dog is gonna come to light, and they find out, and then y'all relationship goes south, right? And then we don't take into account that everybody got an intuition. So some gonna speak up at some point to anybody. So it ain't even no point in even trying to lie, because again, like, this is a small world too, so you never know. Some of the women that you dealing with, they may know each other. The more you do something over and over again, the likelihood is gonna happen by many. That's just basic math. So if you mess with multiple women over and over, right, and different types of women, the likelihood of them knowing each other increases by many. So that's the thing y'all need to keep in mind. So with that being said, first off, y'all need to have value, right? You the owner of the basketball team. You need to have value, and you need to create a culture. What does your culture? And you may not have an arena, right? But you may have a house and a place to stay. Now, if you don't have a place to stay, and you want to go the quantitative route or the qualitative route, you shouldn't be doing it anyway. You ain't got the foundation in place. And I'm really not talking to them type of men anyway. This is men who are not necessarily in survival mode. These are men who's building towards something greater, or who's already at that point. And if you in survival mode, I'll probably do a build on it some other time, how to build up. And there may be another good content, how to build up to getting to this point, right? But so that you need to have you some value where you can create your own identity and culture. What does in your household, what does your culture look like? Is it, I don't want to say dictatorship, but is it a disciplined environment, or not disciplined? Is it a military environment? Is that your identity, militant identity? Is it free flowing identity? Are you late? Is it a laid back culture? Is it a grinded out culture? What's your identity? What's your brand? So when somebody look at you, what's something that they're going to say about you personally, and then publicly too as well. So you need to have you. What is your culture, right? So once you start having that, then you could be like, hey, okay, because in this situation, you got to play multiple roles. You got to be the owner, as far as putting the culture and stuff in place, and then you got to be the GM, or yeah, the GM, and you got to be the scouting agent. So you got to be the GM and the scouting agent. GM and the scouting agents are the ones who find the talent and do analysis on the talent to make sure it's a best fit for the culture. So for you, since you want to have you 1,000 women, what you can do is, right, have that culture, then go start finding people that fit within that culture, and you need to tell them, right? This wise man once said, it's either your way or no way at all. And if it's no way, then that's okay. And I'm gonna explain that a little bit later, because I don't want people to get that construed, right? But in this situation, right, when you're going to seek out these women, especially if they older women, again, this is for younger women trying to get older women, right? But it can kind of go across the board for anybody. So when you trying to seek these out, right, and when you meeting them in person and talking to them on the phone, you need to have intentional conversations. It don't need to be basic stuff like basic conversation. What's your favorite color? Why the sky blue? What you like to eat? What you like to do for fun? Yeah, that's cool. But you gotta know how to mix. If you want to ask some questions, cool. But you gotta know how to mix it up. You gotta be intentional with your questions because if you have a culture, you can't just let anybody that don't fit in your culture come in your culture because if you do, it's gonna destroy your culture and your franchise value is gonna go down. And there's been plenty of franchises that don't necessarily have a culture in basketball, and y'all see it all the time. They haven't won 10, 12, 15 some years, right? So we don't want you to be like that. We want you to be like the LA Lakers, the Chicago Bulls. We want you to be like um what's another the Golden State Warriors, another good franchise. We want you to be like the San Antonio Spurs. We want you, and Boston Celtics too. We want you to be franchises like that. Miami Heat too. We want you to be franchises like that, where they have a culture in place. So when you talking to these women, you need to tell them like, hey, this is my culture, right? I want to have multiple women, XYZ. This is what I do, and this is how I'm gonna go about it. And you can either agree, it's either yay or nay. But at least you gave her that choice. You gotta give her the choice to make a decision. Is she gonna stick around or is she not? Some won't. So what? Your goal is to focus on the ones that will. And you gotta think about it like this, right? Not everybody's gonna say yes. Sometimes in order to get 1,000 yeses, you gotta go through 1,000,000 nos. But let me break that down, right? In the dating world and stuff like that, right? Because some of y'all probably not finna date. Nobody dates 1,000,000 women, right? But let's break it down. Let's say 10 women, right? You may have to date 10 women if you want the quantitative route. You may have to date 10 women to get one yes. So it means you have to date 20, 30 women to get 3 women, maybe 4, 5 women. So you have to put it in that perspective. But even if they do walk away and they be like, hey, this ain't a good deal, right? So think of you as the general manager. You constructing the contract. You want to date with them, you constructing the contract. You be like, hey, this is my terms, and then you show them the contract. So some women gonna be like, nah, you ain't paying me enough. Just like professional sports, you ain't paying me enough money, or I ain't got enough incentives in this contract, or the culture. I don't necessarily agree with the culture and stuff like that. They'll walk away. But then you may have some. You'll have some that's gonna be like, it's like the traffic light. You're gonna have some that's gonna be red that's gonna walk away. Then you're gonna have some that's yellow, the yellow light. So yellow light, they're gonna see the terms. They really into you and stuff like that, and they're gonna be like, let's tweak it. Let's okay. Oh, if you want to date multiple women, right? I'm fine with that. But however, I want to meet them, and however, you need to get tested regularly, and it needs to be safe interactions with them. And it's up to you at that point to say red light or green light. So agree on terms. So you're gonna have some women that's gonna they into you, they yellow light because they cautious about it. But when they cautious, they can either go either way. But when they're in the yellow light, more times than not, they're gonna try to negotiate them terms. So you gotta keep that in mind. Some women, they ain't just gonna say yes impulsively. They gonna say yes, but it's gonna be a but. So you gotta be willing to understand what them terms look like. And then you got the green light. We also know the green light is the ones who gonna fall in line and stuff like that. But however, where you win at, right, is when you in these situations, you constructing these terms and you kept it honest with them, even if the yellow light walks away, right? They still gon' it ain't gonna be no bad blood between y'all because you had that open conversation and you kept it honest with them. That's one thing everybody loves. If regardless of the situation, a lot of people respect honesty, even if they don't like it. A lot of people like honesty. So if you can do it that way, you win. So once they come in, right? Once you start finding people that fit within their culture, they need to know their roles. Men have women for different types of things, and y'all know different type of things. You may have your woman where you just want to have sex with. You have your one woman where uh you can just talk on the phone with. One woman you want to cuddle, one woman want to cook, one woman want to clean. You just have various different women for anything. And if you tell them they role and they agree to it, then you win because they bought in. You was honest and you explained to them their position in your life. Now you win. Now you on the verge of going to the NBA Finals, hosting up the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So making sure you know your place in the world first, where you want to go. It's just like a test, and just like basketball, right? You show them the test, you give them instructions on how to take the test. If they don't want to take the test, they walk up out the classroom. And when they walk up out the classroom, they gotta handle the consequences for that. And I'm not saying this situation is bad, because there's consequences for anything, good or bad. It's just going years down the line. right? It's just like an investment. You're gonna find out whether that consequence was good or bad. And sometimes the consequences probably ain't even gonna affect them because it may be a good consequence for them because they was like, okay, we couldn't come to an agreement, but I met somebody else who came to an agreement. So it's a catch-22 to this. So that's the main thing, man. Like, because I know I'm kind of going in circles a little bit on this, but like knowing your roles is important and making sure they stay within their roles because it's sometimes in life, and I hear this story all the time. Sometimes women don't want to step outside their role. However, if they want to, men, if they want to step out their role, right, and they want to get promoted, let's say you the GM and they come, or you the owner, they come to your office and they say, hey, I want more touches on the basketball, right? You can either say yay or nay. But however, you need to be very cautious, right? Very cautious. Because if they want more touches on the basketball or they want more from your franchise, aka your corporation, you gotta be very careful. You gotta take in consideration that it's not just one woman here. It's a team here. So how will you getting more touches affect the basketball team? Yeah, that's what you gotta think about. How is it gonna affect the basketball team? You can't just say, oh, she been doing real good, she working hard, let me just move up. No, because it may affect the basketball team. And it happened all the time. Empires get destroyed when somebody step outside their role. Basketball teams lose when people step outside their role, right? I always say what's used for good can be used for bad. What's used for bad can be used for good, right? In this situation, I'm kind of harping on the bad, but then there's a good side too, right? When you see somebody on the basketball team and they get hurt and somebody else can step up. I'm gonna give you an example, right? Danny Granger and Paul George. Good example. Danny Granger, Paul George. Paul George never became the famous player he was if Danny Granger never got hurt. And don't nobody, and I'm not shaming Danny Granger. He's a talented basketball player, and nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But it was a blessing in disguise because now they was able to find a diamond in the rough. And they didn't win no championship, but they've been in the playoffs every year since Paul George grew into the superstar he was, and they've been to the conference finals 4 or 5 times. So you may have that in your rough too. You may have one of the ones that's a diamond in your rough. But however, you gotta be very, very, very careful with that. Because again, it could go both ways when the woman in your circle and you got a bunch of women in your circle want to move up, right? And it can start affecting the basketball team. Because then if other women start seeing that, oh, she moving up, she getting a little bit more, then it could cause problems. However, again, it could go good as well. So that's the main thing, man. Y'all, we gotta get the roles understood because a lot of times men, we don't be expressing ourselves. Like we going on like the first 3 dates is crucial. Like you on them dates, you need to be, and again, consult with a dating coach and stuff like that on how to ask the questions and how to have the conversation. But we need to be intentional when they sitting down in front of us, because obviously when you sitting down on a date with somebody, man, it's common sense. Y'all have some type of mutual interest in each other, right? You just got to see what it is and how y'all gonna move forward with that mutual interest. So, and you need to find out about the people that you're with. Everybody, some people call me intrusive for doing it, but hey, if you sitting in front of me and I'm giving you my time and I'm giving you my time, you giving me your time too, we need to be intentional about what we're doing here. We don't need to be over here yes, we want to have a good time, but at the same time, we need to have some intentionality with what we're doing here. We're not finna just waste time like that because, and before I move on to the next part, rich people, and not only want to say rich people, successful people understand this, right? Time is the most valuable asset. That's something that you can't get back. And they even got to the point where they even calculated their time. Every hour spent with you, right? That's minus their net worth. So let's say if they net worth 100,000 a year, right? Every hour they spend with you, that's minus 200, 300 some dollars. So if they're gonna be losing out on a chance to make 200, 300 some dollars, right? It needs to be worth it. And at the same time, right? If they're gonna be taking out time for you, you need to be worth it. You can't just be hot garbage and saying, "Oh, my time is my most valuable asset." Yeah, it's your most valuable asset, but you're not even spending it right. Your time really ain't that value because you don't even respect it yourself. You ain't filling your schedule up with productivity. See, it's the difference between being busy and productive, right? Y'all, you ain't filling your calendar up with being productive. You ain't went to the gym. You ain't went to the hospital, got your kidneys and stuff checked. You ain't been to the dentist. You ain't researched what cologne fits you the best. You don't know your next size for your shirt. What else? You ain't cleaned your house, or if you ain't cleaned your house, you ain't got no money where you can be able to pay for somebody to come clean your house. You ain't hygiening right. You ain't read no book. The last time you read a book was in high school, and if you did read, you went on Wikipedia and read an article about what Kim K was doing or some celebrity was doing. So like, you gotta have you. So again, that goes back to my first point. You gotta have you some value, because when you have value and stuff like that, and you can create your culture, it's gonna be people that's gonna buy in, right? You're gonna attract what you are. So if you want to win in life, men, especially my younger men, again, I'm telling you, because this video is about younger, pulling older women, especially if you want to go that quantitative route. It's more important that you have a culture in place. And here's another thing, man. So if you want to go this route, and I know I'm talking more so to younger men, but this conversation can be for everybody across the board. If you want to go this route, you need to be in a situation where it requires you to have teamwork, right? So I was telling somebody this 3 weeks ago, and it was somebody's wife I knew. She worked at a restaurant. So I told her, I was like, I think everybody, if they want to be married, right, they should have a roommate. I think the same thing for a person who want to go the quantitative route. I think if you want to go the quantitative route, you have to be in some type of environment where it requires you to have teamwork. Because if you've never been in an environment where, especially you the ones who like the only child, if you've never been in an environment where it requires you teamwork, then when you be in a situation like this, it's not gonna work out because you never built that management muscle. You never developed any management skills. Because yeah, you in school sometimes require your teamwork, but it's not. I'm gonna put it like this: when you in school and stuff like that, their success is not determined based off your success. So it's a lot more individualism in school, right? But you gotta be in situations where you can actually develop your management skills. And once you can develop, first off, you got to manage yourself. Then, when you're in a situation where you can develop management skills, I'm gonna tell you some good areas: military, sports teams, obviously, corporate America, depending on uh, which corporate we talking about. And then they have challenges all over the world too, like boot camps and stuff like that for civilians where they can go pay for. So like, or join groups and stuff like that. Like you got to be in some situations where it can build your teamwork. Because what happens is if you a part of a team, you can understand the team. So when you start to own your own team, you already know to walk in their shoes. So you can be able to build that relationship with them. Because in this situation, if you want multiple women, right? Sometimes, like I said, you a basketball team, you got to wear multiple hats. You got to be the scout. You got to be the GM as far as negotiating contracts. Scout is the one who find the talent, and then you got to be owner. The owner is the one who makes sure all the other logistics in place, and then you got to be the coach. The coach got to be the one who stir the ship, and that's why sometimes in the NBA, a player's coach is valuable or they highly sought after. Jason Kidd, Darvin Ham, just to name a few. Ty Lue, that's another one. Yeah, there's some more out there, but just to name a few, like players coaches, they've been in the shoes where they had to have teamwork, and now they can be able to relate to the players a lot more. Not saying that they always successful, because there have been some player coaches who haven't been successful in professional basketball. But it's the same way with you. Like sometimes you got to be a coach too. That's a hat you got to wear, because sometimes you got to know how to steer the ship with women. Because when you women, you got to manage all them emotions. One woman may be happy, the other one bipolar, the other one crying, the other one anxious, right? Because we know women, they have they like the stock market with their emotions. It's volatile, so you got to know how to manage that at all times. They not gonna always be the same every single time. So you got to make sure that you've been in a situation where you have the management skills, and that's why it's so important. Because once you have them, and when you get in this situation where you have multiple women, you can be successful 9 times out of 10 because you always know what to do. Now you're not gonna be perfect, neither are you gonna have the answers for every single thing. But having the experience can help you so you won't be panicking or making irrational decisions. You hot headed, irritated, no patience. It'll prevent all that because you be like, okay, I understand. Because when you have an understanding of the situation, right, as the old people like to say, you do better. And another one is, right, you gotta expect the unexpected. So when you a basketball team and you own a basketball team, you gotta expect the unexpected. Somebody gonna probably get hurt. Somebody gonna quit. Somebody gonna get sick. Somebody gonna have disagreements. It's always gonna be something going on, right? And my motto is, I hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So it's the same thing you need to be doing. You need to be hoping for the best. If you got all these women around, you need to be hoping for the best outcome for all of them and for yourself. but at the same time preparing for the worst. So you need to be thinking like if you start understanding them more, learning more about women, and then especially women that you like talking to that's in your circle, you need to be sitting back and be like, okay, like what if she like you just gotta sit back and just start thinking the different scenarios in your head of what go wrong. I'm not saying to the point where you paranoid, but you just gotta sit back like, okay, if I have multiple women and they always coming in my house, right, then the chances are they always come to my house at the same time and it's always messing up, right? It's a chance that my house gonna stink. So, or if they always come in at my house and all the women using all my shower, my hot water, then eventually when I try to take a shower, the water gonna get cold. Or one of them, they always like to come in and cook, but they don't like to clean up. But they don't like to come clean up, but she don't really like to cook like that. So yeah, you gotta start playing them type of scenarios in your head. You gotta sit back and be like, nah, okay, how can I make this situation work? She like to cook, and the other one just like to clean. Maybe I could just like rotate them in and out at different times. If all of them like to use the hot water, maybe I need to take a shower first before everybody else start coming in at the same time. Or if I know if all of them finna come in the house, and the house may not stink, but they all got all these different perfumes and stuff on, and it's mixing in the house, and then it just creates a certain smell that I don't like. Maybe I need to open up the window before they come in and let it air out. I think I need to do something like that. So you got to start back playing, thinking about scenarios like that, but it comes with watching them first. You got to understand women and learn their behavior, right? Because once you do that, you can kind of start not speculating, but you can kind of predict what could happen in advance. And once you do that, you can prepare a lot better. So here's the other thing, right? That leads me to my next point. You got to always stay present. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You got to always stay present. So what I mean by always staying present, you when they around, when you meditate and stuff like that, you think of this stuff. But when you in a moment, you need to actually be watching them. Don't be while they talking to you and they telling you. So don't be thinking about something else. If you got Tish right here and you got Tracy on your right hand side and both of them talking to you, don't think about Kim. Don't have Kim in your mind because if both women or how many women you talking to and they telling you something, it could be some that could make or break the situation, or it could be something that can actually save your life, or it could be anything that they could say. And if you're not present in your mind where you could catch it, right, you're not gonna find out, and you'll probably find out, but then it's probably gonna be at the point where it's dang near too late. You're gonna sit back and be like, dang, I saw that sign, but I ignored it. Now you ain't necessarily ignored it. You just weren't paying attention, right? Everybody can see, but how many pay attention? Everybody can listen, but how many people can comprehend? See, that's the thing. Everybody can say something, but very few people can speak. All the things I name are three three different things. So you gotta like when they come around, you gotta be focused because like when you focus on them, you can pick up on things. You can be able to learn them quick. Your reaction time will be a little bit faster. Because when you're with a lot of women like that, one thing with women, they move and you gotta be able to react at all times. So that's the importance of being present. So when you got all the women around, you gotta stay focused. You gotta be present. And then when they not around, you can start thinking and going in your mind and stuff like that. But when they there, you gotta be focused. Especially you got multiple ones like coming in your out your place or coming around you like some of y'all do. It's even more important that y'all stay focused. Another thing is too, like some of y'all who want to have quantitative women, y'all can't afford it. And for one, you shouldn't be dating nobody and you ain't got no motion, no value, and no money. That's a given anyway. Like, and what I mean by that is you could afford them. See, it's the difference between buying and affording. I think I mentioned that in the last video. Buying, let's say for example, you got $20 in your pocket, right? And there's some ham in the grocery store, right? Or better yet, since we talking about basketball, let's say you got $1 million cap space, right? And the girl come in and she negotiating terms. She saying, "Hey, I want $1 million." Right? You can buy it. Right? You got a million. You can buy it. You can sign that free agent. Right? Which is the girl, the talent. You can sign the free agent, but that don't necessarily mean you can afford them. Especially when you have a team, because if you have $1 million cap space and you sign her to a deal and she take all the $1 million, then you don't have flexible cap space, and it's gonna be hard to build out your basketball team. And so what happens if you can't build out your basketball team the way you want? Then you signing league minimum deals and trying to you trying to fit the team together, and sometimes it really don't fit. And so what happens is when you make a wrong decision like that, it can set you back 10 years. 5 years, sometimes 20. Because what's gonna happen is when them pieces don't fit, you gotta sell them off, you gotta trade them, buy them out, and you gotta do all this stuff there. And then sometimes you're gonna lose your what's it called? Draft picks. You gotta sell your draft picks, meaning, and I'm breaking it down in real life terms, right? You lose a lot of money, you lose a lot of time, and then sometimes some of the assets that you have, which like draft picks is an asset, some of the assets that you have, if you make the wrong decision with one of them, they could take all your assets, like your house, your car, your keys, your food out your refrigerator, all that stuff, and they could set you back several years because let's say, for example, you get you a house, right, and you put 150 and you paid for the house and you paid it off. But that 150 was all your 401k. And she took that. You in a hole. Now you got to work another 10 years to get it back. And you got to rebuild it up again. All because of that one decision when you trying to, you say, okay, let me try to make it fit. See, and that's another thing we get mixed up at, right? It's a difference between buying and affording. See, let's say if you have $1 million in cap space and somebody come and they say, hey, I want 200,000. You can afford that because it's not hurting you. However, I want y'all to understand this in language terms, right? So if a woman coming in front of you, right, and she got this deal, you need to know, can you buy it and can you afford it? So I'm gonna get into it on the back end, far as trying to make the piece fit, right? But I really want to harp on buying it and affording it. So let's break this down. If she on your payroll, right, you got multiple women on your payroll, you need to be understanding how much they costing you, right? First off, before you even do that, you need to know where all your money is going. Every month, like you need to be knowing where every dollar is going. Your dollar is your employee. We gotta change our mindset. We working for the dollar when the dollar's supposed to work for us. When the yen's supposed to be working for us. We working for the euro. We working for the uh, peso. We working for the baht when the currency is supposed to be working for you. So meaning every dollar that comes in and out your pocket, you need to know where it's going. And so what I mean by y'all need to know what y'all can afford, because like if you have conversation, I'm giving an example. You have conversations with certain women. Some women be like, hey, I spent 600 in the club on one weekend. So I'm gonna put it to you this way: if you got three girls who talking about they spending 600 in the club on weekend, and you only making 5,000 a month, let's just say you're making 5,000 a month, and you spent 1,800 on one weekend, but you still got three other girls laying around, they gonna want to go out, and the minimum it'll cost to go out is what? Depending on what you're doing, you gotta have at least $50 to $100. So let's just say on the high end, they cost $100 a piece. That's another $300. So if you spend, so that's a total of $2,100. You got 5,000 coming in a month. You'll probably be left over probably about 2,900 a month. And then let's say it depends on your situation too, right? Let's say if you're one of the ones who got mortgage, car note, and bills and all this stuff, you can't afford them. Some two of them got to go. In some cases, all of them got to go. Like, cause some of y'all be dating multiple women and stuff like that, and that's why all y'all money be going. Far as y'all leisure money, right? You should never in when you have your currency as an employee, your leisure budget should not be higher than your investment and your savings budget, right? You got to always pay yourself first. It should not that leisure budget should not be higher. But a lot of times y'all leisure budget higher because y'all not watching where the money going, and then y'all do go out with all these women. Y'all not even tracking where that money going. Y'all just spending, 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 spending. Instead of just say, you know what, you cool girl, I like you, but I can't afford you. Ain't no wrong with saying you can't afford somebody, because what happens is you kept it honest, right? So when she on the basketball team and you saying, hey, she too high for this basketball team, what's a cheap basketball team? It really ain't no such thing as a cheap basketball team because they spend like billions of dollars a year. I can't think of a cheap basketball team, but hey, sometimes you gotta waive them or do a stretching provision. Sometimes you gotta be like, hey, goodbye, but I you don't really want to do no stretch of provision because that's for like divorce. Meaning, if you marry her, you got multiple women around, you do a stretch of provision. That means like you stretched out, you're gonna pay her over a certain amount of years. You don't want to do that. But sometimes you gotta be like, hey, breaking news, we have released Tracy, and she is now free agent. Sometimes you just gotta release some of these women. You really do, because some of y'all can't afford these women. Y'all get caught up in buying, and that's not the way to go. You gotta always have flexibility with your cap space, because uh, the more you have, the more you can do. And what I mean by being flexible, you either got two options: save more, or create more. And really, you want to create more. What I mean by create more is buy more income where you can be able to afford the women, or if not, you have to cut the budget down, depending on how you want to go about it. So in this situation, y'all need to know what y'all can afford. If you talking about you want 10 women and you can only realistically only afford 5, stick with 5, or if not, really go down to 3. Because if you got 3 women, you can afford 5, then you can give 2 women a little bit more. You can get on the basketball team, like she on your basketball team, you give her more playing time. That's what you can give her. Yeah, you can give her more playing time, or you can throw some incentives in her contract. You can be like, hey, I give you a free copy machine here and there, or what else? I give you an ironing board or something. These are random stuff. Or you can be like, hey, I'll take you shopping. Yeah, you can do a little bit more. So you gotta know how to play with. You gotta know your numbers. That's what I'm really trying to say. Know your numbers. Don't just get caught up in the image of I got multiple women and they all happy and I'm buying them every month. But deep down inside, even though you showing everybody's image, deep down inside, you going home and you already stressed out because you, dang, my money looking a little funny. Like, and then you trying to plot and scheme, figure out how you gonna get some more money. And sometimes y'all over here borrowing money and stuff like that. Y'all gotta call other basketball teams and ask for loans and stuff like that. Or draft, what's it called? Draft capital, where instead of getting the draft picks, y'all gotta get what's it called? Y'all ask for cash, but you gotta trade the one of y'all picks, and you ask for 100,000 in cash back. See, y'all, you can't do that. You gotta know your numbers. If you know your numbers, you won't have this problem, and you'll actually be able to afford stuff a lot better rather than just buying. And then the other thing is too, you gotta know how to have y'all gotta start having safe sex out here. If y'all have multiple women, like I told y'all, the more likelihood y'all or the more y'all do something, the likelihood of something happening increases by many. This has been scientifically proven. If you shoot, if a player shoot 1,000 jump shots in a gym during the off season, they're going to make one. And they're going to get better. Or if they go into the gym all the time, they're going to get stronger. Or if they consistently rehabbing in the off season, they're going to heal their body. It's just always been proven. So in this situation, right, y'all gotta start having, like say he said, getting tested regularly, making sure y'all taking y'all vitamins, drinking lemon water, cucumber water. For those who don't know, if you drink you some cucumber water, men, it actually clean what's it called? It cleans your pineal gland out. So y'all need to be doing that. Also taking what's it called? Colon cleansers, cleansing that colon out, because if y'all don't know, like some of that stuff, like when Soldier Slim ready to get his booster cable off and he trying to go in the hot pocket, you know what I'm saying? He gonna shoot the club up. That stuff got to pass through the colon, so you want to make sure that stuff is clean. And another thing is, so and y'all Soldier Slim ready to get his booster cable off, Soldier Slim got to suit up. Sometimes, like, not even sometimes, like all the time, you got to suit up. Hey, put your suit on, put your helmet on your head, and then just get to work. And sometimes you gotta ride it out. That's just how it go. Hey, it's better to be safe than sorry. I ain't really gotta harp on this too much because y'all already know the consequences for this happening. And stop saying it ain't gonna happen to me. Yeah, all right. The more times you do something, the more it's gonna happen, and then you'll be looking stupid in the end when it actually happens to you. And another thing is, you don't even want to be in that position anyway. Who wants to be in a position where they can't really enjoy women to the fullest because they got limitations like that? And a lot of y'all, man, that's all y'all got anyway. So if that's broken, y'all ego completely done. So like y'all gotta keep that in mind. Y'all gotta start uh making sure y'all safe out here. Practicing proper hygiene too. Before Soldier Slim go to work and before he put his suit on, Soldier Slim, before he go to work, he gotta take a shower. He can't just hop in the club already sweating. Who wanna dance on that? Because what happens is when Soldier Slim in the club and he dancing, right? That just and he didn't take a bath. It's just more bacteria getting passed around. Or another thing, y'all drinking, and then Soldier Slim got to go to work in the hot pocket. That could cause stuff too. It's a mixture of body fluids and bacteria. And when you build all the bacteria up and stuff like that, you could have problems, especially when you don't suit up. Right. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. Like, you're going this quantitative route. Know your numbers. Know how to play it right. Make sure they understand their roles. Have your own identity. Right. And this leads me to my last point. When it comes to uh, knowing your roles, don't ever try to make something fit. If she is a free agent and she has a lot more limitations that could hinder your basketball team, right? So let's say, for example, what's the basketball team? Let's give you an example. Let's say LA Lakers, right? So y'all remember a couple seasons ago they had Russell Westbrook. Now, before I mention this, right, I want to say, because I don't know if he may watch it or not, but Russell Westbrook is a talented basketball player. We not denying that. Like, man, one of the coldest, like we seen in the game. But however, right, he didn't fit that culture. They needed a shooter. He is more, he's basically, him and LeBron are kind of the same. They need the ball in their hand. So again, they tried to make it fit, right? But it didn't work. So meaning for y'all, when a girl want to come on y'all team, if you got a lot more question marks, right? If she has more question marks than upside, don't think just because she pretty and stuff like that, or she thick, or she got long hair. Because men do this all the time. We always find some where we try to adjust. We try to thread the needle, and that's what we get in trouble with. Hey, put the camera on me. Cut the pictures out. But put the camera on me. When you see a man, like me and y'all do this too much. When y'all see somebody, y'all always try to justify going farther with them with something so small. Y'all look at them, y'all turn y'all head to the side, like, dang, she definitely not my type, but she pretty though. Dang, she not my type, but she got a nice smile though. Dang, she not my type, but she got good social skills though. Dang, she not my type, but I like the way she walk. Dang, she not my type, but I like the way she stand. Dang, she not my type, but I make it fit though. Dang, she not my type. She got some money though. See, y'all start doing that. Y'all see 100 red flags and they only got one green flag, and then y'all want to go, no, no, no. Stop trying to make them fit in your culture. And another side to this is some of y'all want to play Captain Save a chick, right? You listen, and a lot of men, males, we all made the same mistake too. We all made the same mistake. You can, yes, help people. If you want to help somebody, help them. But you really can't change. They have to want change for themselves. So don't get caught up trying to, okay, I think if I bring in the culture, even though she don't fit, we can make her adapt. Don't do that. Don't do that because they'll cause problems. Y'all, and I really don't have to explain it too much because y'all already know what goes wrong with trying to save somebody who don't want to be saved, like Project Pat said. So don't be that guy neither who's trying to make somebody fit in their culture. Because again, if you bring somebody who's cancerous to your basketball team, remember what they taught you in math class? A positive and a positive equals a what? A positive. Negative and a negative equals what? A positive. But that positive don't mean the same as the other positive. Negative and negative positive is mean more BS growth, right? And then if you have a positive and a negative, it's gonna be a negative, meaning that negative energy that come in your household around a bunch of other positive people, eventually all them other positive people gonna be negative because that negative energy is gonna wear them down. So you gotta keep that in mind when you putting your scout and your GM hat on before you start signing these women to your basketball team. Because if you don't do this and you know all the red flags and stuff like that, it's gonna disrupt your whole culture and your identity. So you don't want to do that. Another thing is too, because this is such a deep conversation. Another thing is too, man, like especially the ones who in positions of power or in the public eye, like principals, school boards, high-ranking military, high-ranking politicians, celebrities, high-ranking business owners or influencers and stuff like that. Another reason why, one thing y'all gotta keep in mind too is another reason why knowing your role is important because y'all have a lot more to lose than the regular Smoke Joe. See, the regular Smoke Joe, he can do it, right? It ain't gonna be as much eyes on him, and his brand ain't gonna necessarily be tore down because he probably working under somebody on a W-2 or 1099 or something like that. So it ain't gonna really hurt him as much. But somebody who got a lot to lose, right? Because if they start airing you out on social media, a lot of women, some women be emotional and they gravitate toward other women, so they can hurt your business brand and it would tear it down. And a lot of women, you would lose out on the chance. A lot of women, not every woman though. So you got a lot more to lose. So if you in them situations, right, and you want to go the quantitative route, cool. Because in your situation, it's a lot more easy for you to go the quantitative route because everybody wants you. You make it 50. Well, this is a global thing. You make it 50,000, 100,000, a million a year and up, right? You can pretty much get your pool of women, like your selection of women, far as like free agents, is so huge, and it gets even bigger as the more you climb. So you can go this route a lot easier, but it's important that y'all know, make sure they know their roles. And sometimes y'all gotta get them NDA signed. And I ain't talking about no young Smoke Joe. I'm just talking about people in general. Sometimes you gotta get them NDA signed because sometimes it could be a good signing to your basketball team, but then people change, right? Sometimes they'll come on the team, they'll do good at first, and then they get burnt out, they get tired, they get hurt, or it's contract year. They probably want more money and stuff like that. So now they on your team, and it just causing a lot of problems. And then when you the coach, you getting on to them, and then the GM or you the owner, you force the GM to be like, hey, you got to go ahead waiver, and you waiver. Now she want to air you out and stuff. So it's important to make sure y'all get them. Even though y'all know y'all role, you making sure they know their roles verbally. It's more important for you not only have it verbally understood, but paperwork Lee. That's not a word. Paperwork Lee. It's not a word, but having the paperwork understood as well. Because some women, it can just go bad. We've seen too many times when women go out there and they smear your name. They have a smear campaign. So you got. Hey, so that's pretty much it. This is another conversation with Drip. That's just my perspective on. It's really the main point of this video is how a young person can get older women on a quantitative route, the 1,000 times 1. But both videos that I done, part 1 and part 2, anybody could take it, young or old. Anybody can take the lessons learned from this and apply it to their life. So I just want to give y'all game on that. Again, I'm not no love coach or relationship coach or nothing like that. I just drop game, whatever come on the spirit or in my spirit and it come to my mind, I just get in front of the camera and I just speak about it. I'm a creator of solutions, not a creator of problems. I'm a translator of thoughts, translator of many thoughts, because it's probably other people in the world who want to hear this information. There's other people in the world who got this information and they ain't sharing it. So I just want to spend some time and just put y'all up on game with this. Again, men, I want y'all to understand, and women, y'all probably watching this too. Men, I'm talking more so to you. You're not perfect. No man is. It is okay to not be perfect. Embrace being imperfect. But what is not okay is for you to say it's okay to not be okay, if that makes sense. It's not okay to not have accountability. It's not okay to not willing to grow. It's not okay to not seeking self improvement. So, men, I want y'all to understand it can get better. It can get better. Yesterday won't be today, and today won't be tomorrow. So what that means is every day you wake up, you got a new chance to become something bigger and something greater. So every day you wake up, like I always say, focus on your habits. Focus on doing the little things, because after doing the little things so many times, they can become big things. So if you do so many little great things, eventually you'll become greatness itself. Focus on your habits, and then everything else will come. Because a lot of times y'all talking about women and stuff like that. Yes, it's cool. Whatever, whatever it is, it's cool. But a lot of times, again, it's a bunch of finger pointing instead of just saying, hey, you know what? Let me withdraw from this and just focus on getting better, right? And then once you get better, you can start helping other men get better. Because remember, the greatest sacrifice you could do is make sure the other people around you don't have to sacrifice. Hey, till in until next time, tap in, lock in, tune in, salute. Yeah.